And good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tonight with Poetry, Prose, and Patriotism with the Old Soldier. If you're out there, post a comment, let me know you're sitting here with me. We're going to get started here in just a minute, as I'm still working out some stuff with the new software. And we're going to try and work this out. And we're going to see who comes up here in just a minute, folks. Like I said, today is supposed to be National First Responders Appreciation Day. So we're going to read that poem tonight. Maybe we'll read another one. Let me find that right quick. And I'm going to see who else is out there getting ready to join us here shortly. I hope soon. Like I said, still trying to work out how this StreamYard connects with YouTube and YouTube StreamYard. So if you are out there, come up and give me a comment. Let me know. Okay. So far, so good. Everything seems to be working. So hope everybody's doing fine this evening. And is anybody out there yet? Got one viewer, I think, so far. Is anybody out there? Let's do this instead. Let's do this instead. All right. Okay, we've got Free Spirit. Can you hear me? Hope so, anyway. All right. I'm still trying to figure out some of this new software, so apologize for the technical difficulties, folks. Let's see who else is getting ready to join us. We've got Jim. Let's see. Hello, Jim. Yeah, and like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how to tie my reminders in to go live from there, and it ain't one thing, it's another. But anywho, anyhow, anyway, you can get that on a sweatshirt. Anywho, anyhow, anyway, get yours today. They are now available. Just a tad. But see who else gets ready to join us right quick, and we'll get started here shortly. How's the weather out your way, Free Spirit? It's been getting cool here in the mornings. Checking a little something else too while I'm at it. I wanted to check. Yeah. Freezing there. Yeah, we're supposed to get it's supposed to get cooler here soon. I think by next week we're supposed to be snow. Oh wow. You can move out where you're at. I love watching it fall. Jim, that's a good question. Um, I think I actually clicked you on the invite list to come up on live with me. I'm trying to figure this out. Try going to that link. Get back on the regular comments. Like I said, this software stuff's starting to make me irritated. But anywho, anyhow, anyway. I think saying by next Saturday we'll start getting some 30-degree weather here at night. I think the remainder of the week we're going to be in the low 60s, and then we take a real nice dip. I think it's Sunday we take a dip down to 35. It is, Free Spirit, and like you said, I like StreamYard. I'm just trying to figure it out. Hey, Jim, glad to have you with us, my friend. We got Gin Beer, we got Free Spirit News, and we're going to give about another 5 minutes to see who else pops in on the chat. Go back over to the studio side of things right quick. We had M. Langford. I don't know if he's got the new link or not. So hopefully he'll get it and join us here in a minute. Like I said, just working this new software, just, yeah. Anywho, anyhow, anyway. But we've got Old Soldier apparel mixed with Black Rifle Coffee apparel. I love me some Black Rifle coffee. Yeah, haven't figured that one out yet. But so everybody glad that they got old Al Baghdadi. I know I am. I'm just ecstatic over the weekend or yesterday when I got the news, saw the news. They got that son of a you know what. Hopefully the fleas of 1,000 camels rest in his armpits for eternity, among other things. Among other things. Yeah, I got home. Wife made me some chicken chili tonight, free spirit, and some homemade corn muffins too. Oh my goodness, it hit the spot. Well, it says we got 4 viewers on here. Let's see who all we got. See if I can work this thing. It says I got 4 live viewers. All right. Well, if you're out there, sound off in the comment section, please. And we're going to go ahead and get started with who we got and what we got and roll with the punches. But like I said, today is supposed to be National First Responders Appreciation Day. And this is a poem I've read several times, but I'm going to read it again. But it's law enforcement officers and first responders too. And it goes to read, somewhere blue, somewhere gray, others brown or even tan. All wear a badge. They protect us each and every day. Let us not forget firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs too, putting their life on the line to save yours and mine. Each day they leave home not knowing if today will be their last patrol, their last emergency call, their last day here with us all. They risk their lives each day to protect ours. They leave a family and friends back at home at the beginning of each shift. They see and witness things gory and graphic, storing it away that no others may bear it, serving and protecting our homes, our lives. They give of themselves each and every day, many times above and beyond their scale of pay, just so a child, a family, can be happy. Enough credit they do not get. Criticism and ridicule is often what they get. No reward, just complaints for a job well done. And time and again, they struggle through each day, the same as I and you, that at the end of shift is their goal. If they come home today, tomorrow, to get up and do it all again, that our streets are safe, our homes protected. Give them a thanks, give them a job well done. Know that they too have a family waiting at home. You know, the sad part about it is that many of them that serve in the first responder capacity, that serve in our communities, they don't receive the pay and accolades they truly deserve. And a lot of times for the beginning police officer, barely making enough money to pay their rent and any other bills they have. Some of these guys and gals, they go to college, they incur student debt, they get these degrees that they think, will help them. Any education is good education, but for the level of education they get for the job they're doing, there's just not. Hey, Warsaw, there's not. They just don't get paid justly for what they're putting their life on the line for each and every day, I think. Well, yeah, certification's all you need. They've got a program down here. We call it BLET, or Basic Law Enforcement Training. But a lot of departments would like you to have an associate's to even a bachelor's in criminal justice, Warsaw, just because of the level of knowledge that it gives the officer in the performance of their duties. But sadly, they don't get rewarded for that credential, that degree, as appropriately as they ought to for what they have to go through. There's also the annual training they have to receive every year. They have to be certified on. Some departments require the police officers to also be certified as corrections officers. Well, yeah. Oh, I understand, Warsaw. I understand. I'm just saying that for police officers, a lot of times these departments would like for them to have these degrees and things, but they don't pay them for that credential. You know, they pay them for completing BLET and then maybe the number of years of service they might have in law enforcement. Like I said, and for some departments, that's the road to promotion. You want to make lieutenant in this department, you need to have a bachelor's, or if you want to make captain, we want you to have a master's. Kind of like, education in general. Teachers. I know teachers that, they go into being a teacher with a bachelor's degree. The moment they start teaching, the first thing the schools ask them is, hey, are you working on your master's? If you go get your master's, we're going to pay you a little bit more money. But see, the thing is, when they get the master's, they slap on twice as much responsibility, and I just don't think that's right. But I'm just an old retired sergeant first class. What I know. But no, you bring up a good point about one of my videos earlier this week about trades, and I do want to talk about that tonight too. We need to put a focus back on trades. We need to put a focus back on skills that young people can use coming right out of high school. We need to push those kids that has that talent for that type of work into those programs. It's just not happening. At least it hasn't been happening for a while. It's starting to come back around. But there needs to be a push to kind of get more people into that. Just for the fact that, like I said, your average maintenance workers, they're starting to retire, and there's nobody coming in behind them to replace them. So what happens is these companies they're having to start to outsource to get some of this work done, and not always getting quality talent. Warsaw, push for that goal and finish your training there at the trade school you're at, because that certificate or that degree you get from there might help you get a promotion before you even get to boot camp. It's better to go in the service as an E2 or an E3 as it is opposed to an E1. I was lucky when I went in. I went in as a private first class because I had 3 years of high school ROTC, and I had a letter of recommendation from my senior military instructor. But a lot of the services will give you a promotion before boot camp if you've got an associate's degree. So if that's what you're pursuing, make sure you get that credential before you sign anything. Well, hello, Danger Granger. Welcome. Glad to have you with us this evening. I like that name, Danger Granger. That's cool. Well, Warsaw, you put your mind to it, brother, and you can achieve that. What you want to do is aspire to be a chief petty officer. You're more than welcome, Danger Granger. Where do you hail from? Yeah, Warsaw, push your way up through the ranks and strive to be a chief petty officer. They get to wear the khakis. They're the ones that look at the officers and tell them, watch this. Texas, outstanding, outstanding. Again, we're glad to have you with us tonight. Tonight's, we've already read the poem, and then we're just, talking patriotism and other things that affect our great nation. So feel free to chime in on anything you'd like for us to talk about, Danger. And again, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you. Yeah, Jim, and I experienced that going to school last year and year before last. A lot of these kids think that, 8 o'clock is a suggestion and not a requirement to be at class. And there's a couple of times I got up in class and cut off the instructor and reminded them, you do this in the workplace and they're going to give you a pink slip. Andrew Yang. I can't say that I do, Danger. Does he have a different handle he goes by on YouTube or anything? Or does any other of my viewers know Andrew Yang? But if he referred you, I'm very over the channel. I'm very appreciative. But back to Jim, what you had said, what you were saying about getting him to show up. Yeah. Um, okay. Okay. I would have to go and look at what platform he's running on. But I can't say that I've heard the name. Of course, for those that have announced their tendency to run for president, they've turned that into about a 10-ring circus right now. Uh, so it's anybody's guess on the one party side as to who's out there doing what. Uh, it kind of keeps it hard to keep up with who's announced. But I'll look him up. But yeah, Jim, getting them to show up for work on time. Like I said, I'd have these kids showing up class late. It's like, when stop. You do this when you get a regular job, they're going to give you a pink slip and send you on your way. Some of these kids, they were hard to break that mentality of they were owed something when in reality they're not owed anything. If anything, some of them should have been denied graduation. No, I'll check him out, Danger. But if he's that obscure, I don't know what his chances would be like. But I'll look him up, see what he's about. Like I said, you get one side that's a circus, and the other side is pretty much a shoe into who's getting their nomination. I think one other gentleman has announced his intention on the Republican side, but chances are he's not going to get the nomination of his party. Biggest thing that will affect this coming election, I think, is if several of the Democrats decide to run independent if they don't get the nomination, which of course would divide or split the vote. Now, if the same thing happened on the Republican side, that would be one for the history books for sure. So, but I tell you what, I see you got my curiosity all stirred up now. I'm gonna have to look him up right quick. And let's see. And yeah, okay. All right. So he's running he's running the Democratic Party. Um let's see what he stands on here. I have to read up some more about him, but I can honestly tell you, as a conservative, I doubt I'll vote for him. But I'll look at what he's got. Well, like I said, I'll study up more on him. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Danger. Hey, Corsair, you made it. How are you, my friend? Good to see you here. You missed the poetry, though, Corsair. But that's okay. The more important thing is you're here with us. Like I said, we've been talking about trades and a little bit of politics here, that kind of thing. But like I said, Jim and I were talking the issue of these young people, talking about trying to get them to show up to work on time, and I dealt with that issue when I was going to school with some of these young people. Well, Danger, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'll look at it and just see what he stands on, what kind of issues he supports. Cool beans, Corsair. Cool beans. How's life out in California right now? The wildfire or those wildfires affecting anywhere near you? They've been having a lot of wildfires raging in and around California. Smart call, Danger. We used to have a saying in the Army: if you were on time, you were late. If you were early, you were on time. Um, I got you, Steve. Did the mandatory power blackout affect you any? I know there are certain parts of California the power company shut off power to try and mitigate starting any more. But yeah, when I was in class, there was a few times. Got you, Steve. Well, stay safe, brother. Stay safe. Um, that I'd have to interrupt class, tell these kids, you got to stop. There was one that would show up an hour, almost an hour late every day, and yeah, me too, Jim. I mean, my dad grew up in the Depression in the East Hills of Tennessee, um, where a lot of times in early in his life, if he had a job, he had to walk to get there. There was no cars, there was nobody come by and pick you up. You had to walk, and his time in the Army kind of reinforced the fact of being early, because in the Depression, um, people they'd fire you for being late, and so my dad made a habit of being places on time by being early. He worked for a man in Chattanooga for years, and the one thing that impressed the man that my dad worked for uh, was the fact that my dad was usually always the first one at the shop every morning. Um, and usually by the time everybody got there, my dad had made the coffee for the office, had typed up all his work orders, turned in all his invoices typed, and usually had cleaned the place up for him. And it made an impression. That's kind of how my dad tried to raise me. Hey, Miss Vanessa, how are you? And how has the Air Force treated you today? Well, Danger, that's a good question. But some people now they've got this mentality of it's okay because nobody's ever forced them to do what was really right. Oh, it's okay. You're late. You're here. That's all that's important. Well, some things that's fine, but when somebody's paying you a wage, different story. I know in the military, if someone was chronically and consistently late, we'd eventually wind up having to bust them a stripe and take some money from them and give them some extra duty. If that didn't work, eventually we put them out. Got a lot of leaves falling out there where you're at, Vanessa. I did see your post of your fire pit. That looks pretty cool. I got to build one in my backyard. I might try later on this fall. In other news, how's everybody feel about Abu al Baghdadi being taken out of this world? I got a little overzealous about that yesterday, and my wife kind of looked at me funny, and I said, "Don't look at me funny. That man was evil. He was responsible for the deaths of many of my brothers and sisters in uniform." Exactly, Vanessa. Exactly. And even if you hate the job, Danger, sometimes you got to keep it until you find something better. And if you leave that place on a good note, you know, uh, by being on time and doing the right things, even the jobs you hate, you can get a good recommendation from. I wouldn't say cool, but but yeah, I'm glad the man's gone. And then, from what I understand, they took out his deputy as well. Well, Vanessa, you're right. There are a lot of kids going to college who never held a job. Part of that is the dynamic of part-time work. When I was growing up, you got to high school, um, it wasn't expected that you get a part-time job, but if I wanted to use the car and I wanted to have money to go out on dates, not that I had many in high school, um, you had to earn your own money. Uh, yeah, I saw that too. There's going to be the haters out there, Warsaw. Uh, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I started my first job at 16, Vanessa. Um, yeah, I saw that too, Jim. I thought that was pretty spot on that briefing. But yeah, Vanessa, my first job was I was a grocery bagger. I bagged groceries. Um, and there were nights I hated, and there were nights I liked it. But bottom line, it put some money in my pocket so I'd have something to spend. Uh, well, good luck with that, Danger. What are you going to be doing? Well, Warsaw, I agree with you, but First Amendment. Okay. Now, Danger, you still in school? Oh, wow, Vanessa. That is some hard work. A lot of people don't realize that digging grave sites ain't easy. Okay. Well, good luck with your job at GameStop. Okay. Well, congratulations. What's your next big plan, Danger? Cool, Jim. Oh yeah, Warsaw. You're right. Just because you can, you shouldn't. But some people are going to push that to the limit anyway. Um, but as I always say, uh, awesome, Danger. Awesome. And Warsaw, like I said, some people are going to push it. There's actually a shortage in that field, Danger. Another one, the school I teach at has just started. Uh, it is it's like a medical technician, administrative assistant, and phlebotomist all rolled into one. I forget the technical name they're using for it, but it's a program the school I teach at starting. And why? Because the doctor office rather hires one person that can do multiple jobs than multiple people that do only one job. But stick with it; you won't regret it. My regrets is not finishing my degree while I was in the service. I waited till I got out and been out almost 8 years before I went back to school and finished it. But finished it, I did. So good luck and stick with it. You're welcome. Oh, that's one way of looking at it, Vanessa. Yeah. My mom always said if you're just shoveling horse manure, as long as it's honest work. Of course, my parents grew up in the Depression. My daddy would not eat strawberries. Well, Danger, you're absolutely right there. Um, but the thing people also got to realize with jobs, here around here, the McDonald's have gone to kiosks for ordering. I don't know where y'all are at; they're doing the same thing. But one of the owners of the franchise here near me, a friend of mine knows him. We're talking, and they got into the whole thing about these kiosks are going to cause McDonald's to lay people off. And the man that owned it said, no, actually I had to hire more people. And he said, what do you mean? He says, we still have to have somebody work the counter in case somebody wants to come in and make an old-fashioned transaction. But he said I had to put more people in the kitchen to keep up with the orders because someone comes in and orders at the kiosk, takes priority over somebody that orders from the drive-through, and a kiosk order to go takes priority over everybody else. So they had to have more people to go back into the kitchen to work. So it actually created more jobs. I thought, well, that was kind of odd. It's the first time I've ever heard of technology creating more jobs. But see, the flip to that is we need people to know how to fix those kiosks when they go down. And Danger, you're on the right path. You find that thing that's going to always be needed. Yeah, Vanessa, you can do that too. I've seen that too. But back to the story I was going to tell. The reason my daddy would not eat strawberries, when he was, I guess, 10 or 11, his mother got the whole family. You realize my grandmother raised her 4 children and her brother's 5. Her brother moved out to California with his family. His wife became mentally ill, and he put her into an asylum. Back then, that's what they called them. And he brought his children back and was going to put them up for adoption. But my grandmother said, no, we'll just combine our families, raise them together. Long story short, my grandmother got all the kids a job one summer working in a man's strawberry patch, picking strawberries. They picked them all day for 50 cents a day. At the end of the day, the man would give my grandmother all the coals. And if you don't know what a coal is, some of the older folks do, but for some younger, what a coal is, it's a strawberry or a piece of fruit, whatever, that don't make the cut. Just like culling, or what they call culling the herd. You're taking the weaker things out of the herd. Still edible, but not quite as good as the rest. And he'd give those to my grandmother at the end of each day. And she would have to go home and make these dishes to feed all these children. And I guess my dad, by the end of that year, got so sick and tired of strawberries, he just could never eat one again. But we joke in this nation about roadkill. When my dad was growing up, they hit a possum or a rabbit or a deer. That if it wasn't mangled too bad, it went home, went in the cook pot. That's how desperate my dad's family was. Now my mom's, not so much, because my granddaddy on my mama's side had a steady job. He was a policeman. He had a steady income. He was paid by the county. But even then, money was still kind of tight. And wherever they lived, they always grew a garden to supplement the other items that granddaddy could afford to buy. And even then, they would try to raise their own chickens and hogs and things of that nature. So, Mario, how we doing? Blue Healer. Hey, you're here. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Like I said, tonight was a repeat poem that I read before on law enforcement officers and EMTs, because today was National First Responder Appreciation Day. So I thought that poem was appropriate. But glad to have all you here. We're up to 10 people tonight. This is awesome. This is so awesome. Having a great conversation with a lot of people here. We got a new viewer, Danger Granger. If you don't know Danger, reach out and say hello. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have this young person with us. Now, Danger Granger. Now, not to be rude, but are you a young man, young woman? Tell us so we'll address you properly. Yes, I did. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it, but I'm going to go back and watch it. But I saw the one you did with your Winged Hussars plaque. I loved it. That was awesome. Love that. That plaque is cool, dude. It really is. Well, maybe, I don't know, Danger dropped off or what. Hope he's still there, or he or she's still there. Kyle, how are you? I understand the feeling. My sinus has been giving me a fit. And the other problem too is I had my eyes dilated today, and the dilation is still lingering a little bit. I had to go to the VA and get my eyes checked out so I can get a new pair of glasses. Yeah, that was a fun trip. But and by the way, Kyle, anywho, anyhow, anyway, you said you wanted one. You're down in the link in one of my videos. I hope you get feeling better though. Glad you could make it. All right. Thank you, Danger. Just want to be clear. I just, sometimes these names don't know what's what and don't want to call somebody accidentally something that they don't want to be called. But thank you for sharing it with us, young man. And Vanessa, uh, yeah, I got out right after Desert Storm, Vanessa, for about 2 years, um, and went back in about 2 years later. Yeah, it wasn't a complete waste, Kyle. You just the lady that checked me in today was rather cold and rude. The staff, medical staff, was great. Um, that and well, I was told that I got you, Danger. Thank you. Uh, I was told that I could get progressive lenses because I had these bifocals for a year. And I go back to order them and said, well, no, because it's your first time getting progressives. It'd be $109 if you want that. I thought, wait a minute, I'm a 100% disabled veteran. Shouldn't be paying for any of this. But he said, no, if it's first time, you have to pay. I said, it's not what they told me last year. I said, I know you're doing your job, young man. Let's just do it with the bifocals. So getting a new pair of glasses, transitional lenses, so that'll work to my advantage anyway. Okay, I appreciate that, Kyle. Appreciate that. We are now 42 minutes into this. Question: does anybody have any requests for poetry tonight? Out of all the ones I've ever read or posted, does anybody want to hear another one tonight? Sound off in the comments section. If you've got a favorite you would like for me to reread, let me know. Yeah, Vanessa, I got them through the VA. When I found out I could get a free pair through the VA, because when I quit my job in Fort Bragg, I lost my vision insurance. Um, so I went through the whole process to get an appointment. Well, Warsaw, I would agree with you on that, but sadly, it happens. Uh, but yeah, Vanessa, I got them through the clinic. See, last year they sent me to a civilian provider who wrote me a prescription. I took it and turned it in. They did the order. This year, I actually got seen at the VA clinic in Fayetteville. Um, and of course, they do it electronically. So I just went down and they fitted me for my new glasses. And you get to pick out. See, the VA's contract with a company now for that, um, to do that. And I guess through that contract, for the first time, progressives, they want you to pay for it because they had so many people returning them, wanting to have their lenses put back to line bifocal. I'm like, whatever. I just said take the bifocals out. But you get so many frames you can pick from that are free, and then they got so many that if you want, you have to pay for the frames, but the VA will still do the lenses for free. I just picked out a pair of free, the frames I didn't have to pay for. Mario, I was 31 November, 31 kilo, 31 uniform, 25 uniform, and a 13 Bravo. C103, glad to have you with us here tonight. I'll have to write one on that one, Warsaw. Yeah, it's a new, according to lady, it's a new change because so many were bringing their glasses back, Vanessa, wanting to get back to, go back to their old line bifocals. And I just, I wasn't going to sit there and argue with what someone had told me last year and what I was told. I said, you know what, just take the bifocals out. Do I have to pay for the transition? She says, no, that's covered. I said, just give me transition and we'll call it a day. I mean, she was only doing her job, but it made me mad because there was no mention of this update or this change. And likewise to you, Mario. And transitioning to retirement can be a little hairy, but it's a lot of fun too. Um, just make sure you got everything documented in your medical records when you go to file with the VA. The other thing too is make sure all your stuff for your GI Bill is good to go. Vanessa, what else does he need to be aware of getting ready to retire and walk out the door? Well, none of my business, but do you intend to stay where you're at when you retire near a military base, or are you going to go somewhere outside of a military area? No, Vanessa, they're not. And these bifocals for the entire year I've had them has given me a fit. Danger, I appreciate you subbing to the channel. I don't know where to tell you to go to find weirdos, but but appreciate you joining and coming by, and feel free to come back anytime. Love to have you, and good luck with your new job. But yeah, Vanessa, that whole line thing is for years drove me up a wall. Kyle, check on the description on one of my older videos. You ought to be able to find it there. And while we're doing that, I'll see if I can pull it up another way and put it in the side over here. So y'all keep talking in the side chat because I'm having to look on my email on a different screen. And this is so much fun. If I can find this thing. There we go. Not too shabby. So y'all keep talking because I can't see the side chat right now. And copy. And we are back. Now I can see everybody. And we're going to paste. And Kyle. That should take you to the site. And anybody else wants to order t-shirt, sweatshirt, or hoodie. Got you, Mario. Got you. I'm just saying there's a lot of people when they retire, they'll pack up and they'll move away from the military installation and don't know all the ins and outs with TRICARE when they do that, or where to go get ID cards, that kind of thing. Those are things to take in consideration. And if that link doesn't work, Kyle, I'll send you another one on email, or actually, I'll send it to you on a message and on Instagram. But let me scroll up and look at the other comments. What we got going on here? Yeah, Warsaw. That's the same thing with my eyes. That I hate it when they dilated them today. I hadn't had my eyes dilated in like 13, 14 years. I think the VA and the active military are the only ones that dilate anymore. And it wasn't fun going back outside. Yeah, Vanessa, we ran into that down here. Come on in, Mrs. Old Soldier. Say hello. She just wants to hand stuff through the door. That's all right. What was funny in my case, when I got ready to retire, TRICARE sent me a letter and told me that I need to find an off-post provider for my wife and kids because we live too far from Fort Bragg. And I thought, for all these years I've been telling y'all that, you've been, nope, you got to go on the clinic on post, got to go on the clinic on post. And then 6 months from retirement, they're like, nope, got to find them one off post. So when I retired, I just went off post with them. Well, like you said, this is a once a year thing. When I went last year, like I said, they sent me to a provider outside of the VA, and they do something else now, cameras that do what dilation does now, so it's like, okay. I don't have to go every year, and I'm choosing to now, just for the fact that I am getting older. I'm choosing to now, just for the fact that I am getting older. Turn your volume down. The missus is checking on me. But yeah, I choose to do it now because, like I said, my mom had cataracts bad towards the end of her life, and I just want to stay on top of that. But I think this year, because TRICARE has started letting retirees buy into the vision and dental that the civil service employees get. And last year I just took the dental, but I might buy into dental and vision this year. I'll tell you, said, hey, Warsaw, she stepped back out. But that's all right, brother. If it wasn't for autocorrect, I'd misspell half the words I type up, it seems like. Yeah, and I went with Delta Dental last year, but I'm going to switch back to MetLife. That's who I had when I was a federal civilian employee, Vanessa. MetLife's actually pretty good. I don't know why I didn't pick them last year when I was having issues because they still had me in the system as a DA civilian. You too, Steve. Thanks for joining us tonight, my friend. Really appreciate you dropping in. Try not to get caught up in the fires, brother. Yeah, and really, I need to do it for me and the wife. Because, like I said, when I quit working at Fort Bragg, I lost the vision for her as well. With TRICARE, they'll pay for her to have an eye exam, but they just won't cover glasses. Yeah, I don't blame you, Vanessa. I had to get a filling done a few weeks ago, and I had the Delta, which made getting that filling only $239 painful. No worries, Steve. I'm just glad you could make it tonight. Yeah, Warsaw, he's going to be at it until the election. He's trying to remain relevant to garner his party's nomination. And honestly, that whole 10-ring circus, it's anybody's guess right now who's going to get the Democratic nomination. They're all jockeying for position hard. Well, there's no law in the books that says a criminal can't run for president, or an ex-criminal, I should say. There's nothing that says an ex-convict cannot run for elected office. And I forget where it was at years ago. There was a guy who was an ex-convict. He was actually the duly elected sheriff of a county, but he couldn't carry a firearm. Weird, huh? Vanessa, I switched over to Select, or what used to be known as Standard, a couple years ago when I had to take my wife to the ER at Fort Bragg. And after that visit, she got a phone call from a clinic on Fort Bragg, or it was run by Fort Bragg, telling her that's where she needed to go see the doctor. Not asking, telling her. And that I should have been going to a clinic near Fort Bragg for, whatever. I said, well, let's see. When I got ready to retire, you told me I had to find a provider off post for my family, so I did that. And then I just decided to do the same thing. And now you're telling me that I got to go back to Fort Bragg. It doesn't work that way. So they told me my option was drop out of Prime and go with Select, or stay with Prime. And I'd been with this clinic that we're going to now for almost 10 years now. So we just went to Select, and I picked up a supplement through Military Benefits Association that pretty much picks up everything else that Select doesn't, and have been able to keep the provider that we've had. Now, if my kids were still on the plan, I'd have probably stuck with Prime, but just me and the wife now, we just run with Select. And like I said, I get and for what I pay for my supplement is about what I was paying annually for Prime anyway. And with Select, I don't need a referral from TRICARE to go see a specialist. So it works out. Yeah, Kyle, I don't think he stands a chance, but he's going to stir the pot as much as he can, like the rest of them are. The only one that's running on that party that I have any measure of respect for is Tulsi Gabbard. They're trying to smear her name through the ringer right now. But I actually do have some respect for her. But I think they're trying to make her irrelevant because, I think the party knows who they want to select, but they're just not saying it at this point in time. So, and then there's the whole thing of, whose rumor is that person might decide to make a 2020 run. That would really be a laugh and a half. But so question I asked it a minute ago. Does anybody want me to read another poem tonight? Yes or no? No or yes? Yes or no? You can and you can't, Warsaw. It honestly depends on how much foreign aid you decide to promise them. And I hate to say that's how the world works, but that's how the world works. All right, Warsaw says read another poem. Anybody else? Yeah, you're pretty much right about that one, Vanessa. Make it the author's choice. Okay. Well, let's see while y'all are going through there. Hey, Jamie. Good to see you, brother. Glad you were here with us. Da 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 da. Let me find a good one in here. Bear with me. This is always a good one, I think. Freedom paid by the ones that did not come home. And it goes to read. Many have fought, that is true, from Valley Forge to Pleiku, from plains of the West to the deserts of Iraq, on the high peaks of Afghanistan, that's a fact, in lands far away and places famous, France and Belgium, to places most have forgot. Bloodshed that you and I may go to bed and sleep warm and tight. In harm's way, there they stood between us and those that would do us harm. Life sacrificed for our freedom, many times for a friend, some a belief, others a cause. Many came home, alive and thankful, humble but proud, the scars of war hidden but not gone. But what of those who gave their life, some on home soil, others abroad? Freedom they guarded, our liberty paid, their selfless sacrifice, that was the price they paid. They died for our country that tyranny may not reign. So please, on Memorial Day, take a pittance of time, that their sacrifice, their life they gave, be not in vain. 1 minute of time, that is all I would ask. Just one small sacrifice, one act of humble grace. And yes, folks, I have started working on a third one. I'm writing more material for a third book. So hopefully that will, I want to get working on that later in the winter and late spring, early summer, get it out and published. Might have to do a contest and do a giveaway for the title. Let you, the viewers, select the title or come up with a title, and whoever wins, do something on a giveaway. So I have checked that into doing that. So, Kyle, were you able to pull that link up that I sent you? or I posted, let me know. But yeah, my eyes are still hurting from that being dilated today. I don't like that feeling, especially when you walk outside and it's bright like today it was. It was bright here. It's like, ah. So, who all still out there with us tonight? We got Kyle, we got Vanessa, we got Jamie, we got C103, we got Jim Beer, we got Warsaw. Warsaw, you still out there, brother? We had Danger Granger, but I think Danger Granger deleted all of their content, all their comments. Interesting. Oh, no, he's still there. Some of his comments are still there. I was just so far down. We got Blue Healer 260, Mario Mosen, Corsair Trainers was here with us. He had to go. And quite the right turnout. Okay, Kyle. Yes, I did, Jamie, and I'm still trying to figure out how to link it to YouTube and that kind of thing, where I post the announcement for tonight's video, and still working. I might have to call you later this week and pick your brain on some of the particulars. Rabbi Jesus, how are you tonight, sir? Glad to see you here with us. Okay, Kyle. But well, Cheryl Hirsch from her channel, she was the one always told me, you need to get that and put it on a t-shirt. So I did. Anyhow, anywho, anyway. So, or anywho, anyhow, anyway. There we go. I'll get it right here in a minute. Well, Jamie and Kyle, how's the weather been in Georgia today? Is it getting cooler there? Don't know, Vanessa, but that'd be interesting if they do. And my wife has to wear hearing aids when she goes out. She has what's called Meniere's disease that has damaged her hearing. And about the same here. It's in the upper 70s. It was, I guess, in the low 60s this morning. This weekend it's supposed to, I can pull up weather report here. This thing will pull up and work right. Get it do right. Weather app for Parkton, North Carolina. It is currently 71 degrees. Low tonight will be down to about 60 when I get up tomorrow morning. And then let's see, tomorrow Tuesday, low of 59. Wednesday, low of 63. Friday we'll get down to 52. Now they're saying Monday we'll have a low of 33 on Monday. So yeah, it's about to take a dip here. That'll do it, Vanessa. That'll do it. $90 degrees where you're at, Rabbi? Whoo, it is hot. Now, you're in South Texas, North Texas? What part of Texas? C103, what part of Georgia? You said Northwest. I got a brother that lives in Northwest Georgia. Lives in the town of Calhoun. Well, Jamie, you bundle up and please be careful, brother. Small world, Vanessa. I used to go through Dalton all the time. Okay, well, my brother lives in Calhoun. Lives over off of oh Lord, any other day of the week, tell the name of the road. Not Redbud. Dews Pond Road. I don't know if you're familiar where Dews Pond Road is, but he lives in a subdivision somewhere off of there. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting rain about the same time too. Jim, hang up on us there, Jamie. Have to go back in the comments and check. Well, Jim, thanks for stopping in, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, it is, Kyle. Yeah, like I said, my brother lives there and he works in Dalton. Works for what's the name of the carpet company he works for? Shaw. He works for Shaw Carpet. Okay. Yeah, my brother lives out that way. Like I said, he works for Shaw Carpet Mills. He's been there. Trying to think how long he's been there. He's been there since Daddy died, and that'd be 89. So he's been there a good bit. Been there a good bit. So he grew up in Chattanooga, and then joined the Army. They sent me to Fort Bragg, so that's where I kind of wound up. And Mom and Dad went to Myrtle Beach for about a month, and that's where Daddy died. And when that happened, my oldest brother was living in Calhoun at the time, brought my mom and my other brother back, and that's where they kind of wound up settling. Yeah, that's where he'd been with him since about 93 or 94, Kyle. Um, yeah, he did. He sure did, Warsaw. I don't wish what he went through on any man. I tell you one you need to read about Warsaw. You need to get a book called 5 Years to Freedom, and it was written by Nick Rowe. Now, Nick Rowe spent 5 years in a Viet Cong prison camp, not a North Vietnamese prison camp, but a Viet Cong prison camp that moved a lot. And they held him for 5 years. And for 5 years, they looked for him. And he finally, 5 Years to Freedom is the name of the book. And you read what he went through. And see, they named the obstacle course at Camp McCall, North Carolina, where the SF students go through their initial training, the Nasty Nick, because they used him to help design it based on some of his experiences of being a POW. You'd read up on that book, you'll be shocked at what that man endured. You really will. But no, the other gentleman you're speaking of, lone survivor, went through a lot. And again, he to go through what he went through and survive. No, he was an Army infantry officer, Green Beret, Warsaw. And at the time of his capture, he was actually an advisor of the South Vietnamese Army. C-103, I know where you're talking about on Highway 53. I know where you're talking about, sir. Calhoun, Georgia. There was a thrift shop there on 53 near Ingles grocery store. When my kids were little, they always had to go to their grandma. That, and then we'd go across the street to the Dairy Queen and get them some ice cream. Now, Roy, Roy Benavita is someone totally different. Warsaw. Nick Rowe. Nick Rowe was in the early years, and like I said, just Google the book. Get a chance, get it. When you read it, you'll be astonished at what this man had to endure. Trying to keep up all the comments and sides, so forgive me. Well, Vanessa, I agree with you. To make golf exciting, they ought to combine it with ski. And if your ball gets shot out of the air, it's an automatic 20-stroke penalty, and you either pay to continue the game, or you're also out at that point in time. So, but every time I go to a golf course and mention it, I get politely asked to leave, sternly but politely. But that would be an interesting combination: golf and ski. But sadly, with Nick Rowe, Warsaw, he would later be assassinated in the Philippines when he was out there on a mission. Yeah, Rabbi, it would be a fun way to play golf, but most professional golfers are kind of against it for some reason. I don't know why. I think it'd be fun. Yeah, Kyle, I got hooked on those when, believe it or not, when I was in high school. One of my best friends was diabetic. We'd go over to his house. The only thing it had to drink was water, tea, milk, or Tab. If you remember Tab. And then when Diet Coke came out, it was quite a refreshing change. And so when I went to get ready to join the Army, I started just drinking those instead of regular Coke, so I could lose weight, make it the basic training, which I did. Funny thing about it, I thought after basic training I'd go back to drinking regular Coca-Cola. We went to the Red Lobster outside of Fort Jackson, and waitress said, "What would you like?" I said, "Like, steak or something else." And what would you like to drink? Said, "Just a Coke." And went to drink it. It was just too sweet. I've never been able to drink regular Coke again. You don't remember Tab, the soft drink, Kyle? Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah, well, relax. It wasn't Relaxing Jackson for me. I hated that place. Still do. I was at the barracks called the Starship, but there was nothing nice about them. And then the sad part was, here's the ironic part. When I got out of the Army in 91, where did I out process at? Same place I went to basic. And then when I went back on active duty, but when I went back to Warsaw, I've seen it. That's a pretty good movie. Went back there for recruiter school. That was another 2 months of fun at Fort Jackson. Yeah. Well, where I was at, we had them pea ant hills everywhere, and hated doing PT in the middle of early morning, couldn't see nothing. You drop down and you put your hand in a pile of them, jump up, screaming, drill sergeant, "What's your problem? Get back down!" But yeah, I remember the sand fleas too. I hated climbing up Tank Hill just to go back down and go back up again. I have to go back and look at Back to the Future and see what quote you're talking about, Kyle. I haven't watched Back to the Future in years. Yeah, they are in Warsaw. They get into everything too. I hate chiggers. That was the other thing about Fort Jackson and Fort Bragg Light. You get them chiggers in your legs and they just itch for days. And I called my dad one time after field exercise. I said, "Dad, I got these red bumps all over my leg and they're itching." He said, "You got into some chiggers?" And I said, "I guess so." What are those? And he went to tell me. He says, "Well, how do I get rid of them?" And he said, "Go to the PX and get you a bottle of clear fingernail polish." Said, put that over them and it'll kill them. And it did. But man, they used to have to get that green bottle of goop. Oh, what was the name of that stuff? You always had to spread that on your legs. And come to find out, a good pair of thin nylon knee-high pantyhose, if I'd wear those when I went to the field to help keep the chiggers out. But man, if they ever got a hold of you, man, they itched for days on end. Hated that. But in Warsaw, you talk about camel spiders. No, Fort Jackson, Fort Gordon, Fort Bragg, brown recluse. I'd rather get bit by a black widow before I get bit by a brown recluse. We had to do the basic training, got bit on the lip by a brown recluse, and his lips swelled up. Oh, God, it was nasty. I forget how much of his lip they had to cut out to fix him. But brown recluses are always turn your boots upside down and knock the crap out of them before you put them on your feet. Yeah, Vanessa, they do. And once they get in there, they are no joke. Yeah, Warsaw, I did when my first tour to the desert. Sure did see a few scorpions. Oh, yeah, they are. But you talk about scorpions, where we were at initially, they told us when you go to the latrines, which they had these wood boxes they built, and 55-gallon drums underneath, old honey buckets. They told us, kick the seat and kick around before you sit down. And this one individual didn't, and that individual wound up getting flown back to Germany because he got a scorpion bite sitting on the toilet. Wasn't pretty. Scorpions can be nasty little buggers. Tear you up something fierce. But everywhere you go in the military, there's always going to be those safety briefings about the wildlife and the critters in the area you're at. Fort Bragg, you always get briefed on timber rattlers, copperheads, coral snakes, water moccasins, brown recluse, black widow spiders. Those are some of the things you got to look out for when you're out in the training area. Biggest thing is don't play with Jake, and Jake won't play with you. But when I was in the National Guard, we went to Camp Shelby one year and we had this young captain that thought picking up a baby rattlesnake was a good way to get rid of it until it latched onto his finger. His finger swelled about the size of a cucumber. But anyway, folks, it is 1 hour and 18 minutes into this. And I got to get up and go to work tomorrow, as I'm sure many of you do too as well. And some of y'all are in different time zones than me, so I don't know if I'm keeping anybody up above their bedtime or not. But I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that have shown up here tonight. I really appreciate y'all coming out and watching the channel tonight and listening to the poetry. Really appreciate it. And I hope to see each and every one of you again next Monday as we continue to do this at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. Likewise, Warsaw, appreciate you. Love you, brother. Really mean it. You bring a lot to the channel too, my friend. And if y'all haven't checked out Warsaw Patriot, go check him out. And he's got some talent with woods. You need to check that out as well. There's another channel. She's not here tonight, but you get a chance, go check her out. Pray for her also. Her channel is called Patriot Farms. She herself is a veteran, but she's got a husband who just deployed. But she runs a farm in the western part of the state. It's all right, Kyle. It happens. But if you get a chance, check out Patriot Farm. Tell her I sent you over. Jamie, good night, my brother. And like I said, the game plan for me and Mrs. Old Soldier is from the 26th of December to the 2nd of January to be visiting that neck of the woods. So during that course of time, we'll all try to figure out a day and a location we can meet and either get a varsity dog or a crystal hamburger or both. So, but again, I appreciate each and everybody for stopping in tonight. God bless each and every one of you. And until next week, and then stay tuned for tomorrow's video. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll make it interesting, I'm sure. But until then, but it helped me, Kyle. It didn't seem to bother the skin any, but it seemed to suffocate the chiggers. That sounds like a plan, Kyle. It sounds like a plan. So until then, y'all take care. Until next week, God bless. It's the old soldier out. Thank you, C103. Good night.